What if the scenes in London yesterday were repeated across the country? In your town, maybe. Over the past week, Home Secretary Suella Braverman has been spouting more and more extreme right wing shit, happily backed by the ever more extreme right wing press. As soon as she called the marches in support of a ceasefire in Gaza hate marches, it was the dog whistle they needed, conveniently drawing attention from the COVID inquiry, the cost of living crisis, the terrible economic figures, and allowing them to focus instead on a non existent enemy. Cue a front page headline in the Daily Mail saying an elderly poppy seller was punched by a pro Palestine supporter. A story that was found not to be true, but of course seen by millions. And as far as I know, there wasn't a retraction in the paper. So now she's defined the peace protesters as being against the British values of remembrance, and it wasn't long before Tommy Robinson's right-wing English Defence League were on board to protect the armistice ceremony at Cenotaph and protect statues that weren't even under threat, encouraged by videos on social media where Elon Musk's X has now allowed him back on after the real Twitter banned him for hate speech. Suella then went a stage further by writing an article saying the police were biased in favour of left-wing causes, which further inflamed the situation. Not to mention that in doing so she broke the ministerial code, again, by not getting approval for the article from Downing Street. This is a sackable offence in any normal government with a Prime Minister who has control. More headlines appeared on the right-wing Tories saying the protesters mustn't be allowed to disrupt Armistice weekend, which isn't even a thing, and saying how terrible it will be if the violence, which Suella encouraged, spilt into the streets, although in reality we know she relished it. Inevitably, of course, it did, but it wasn't the peace protesters, it was the right-wing patriots attacking the police and threatening people at stations. The fact is that among the hundreds of thousands of peace protesters, there will have been a very small minority who were there to cause trouble. Of the few hundred right-wing thugs, each and every one was there for that very reason. So there were a few arrests from the main protest, but many more from the right wing, and probably more to come when the footage has been looked at. But what's been the government's response? Sack Suella? No, they've indicated regret at arrests on both sides. There are three potential big outcomes from this weekend. Firstly, the Union Jack and even Poppies will continue to become a rallying symbol for the right, but it'll also make them something normal people won't want to be identified with. Second, a new law could be brought in that makes protest on Armistice Day illegal, but of course that'll extend to the whole weekend, and before you know it, protests will be banned a week either side, which will set a precedent for other national events. Third, and this is the scary one, Rishi's delay in reining in Suella will make her the rallying point for the right wing, not their causes. So even if she's eventually kicked out, she'll still be there promoting her hatred and gathering supporters. See Donald Trump. But after a while, when they've become more powerful, the right wing in the form of Tommy Robinson and the like will decide she's the wrong colour to be British, and someone like, Nigel Farage will step in. Then the enemy will be anyone with darker skin, people who are gay, the elderly, the infirm, and then, just maybe, you. I'll be doing more on the Suella situation, so please do subscribe. It really helps small channels like this. And why not turn on notifications?